All right, you're live. Hello, thank you for attending the Animal Control Board meeting on January 29th, 2025. Before we start off, we'll call the meeting to order and we'll go ahead and do the pledge of allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, well, as far as for public comments tonight, looks like
Slim pickings.
pretty empty tonight, so we'll go ahead and jump to the update for the school and events and the dates.
All right. We've hit a snag, a couple things. One, since I took a full-time position with the clerk's office, I haven't had the time to be able to set anything up. Perry Central and Tell City, I kept reaching out to them. They said they would call back. They never did. Candleton's willing to do it whenever we can set it up. So.
What was the deal with something about we had to have a curriculum or something?
Right, all of them received the curriculum, what we were
Okay.
gonna do. We were gonna do a video online. It was gonna show
So they
that
just had to see what we
They
were
had to see
doing.
what we were gonna do.
Okay.
Plus, we wanted to do a live stream from the shelter.
Oh, yeah.
So, because we can't actually take the animals to them, we thought we'd take them on camera so they could do a virtual tour of the shelter and see the animals that are there and the responsibility everyone has on taking care of these animals. So that's still up in the air. That.
So how long of a class was you thinking, or, a presentation?
What we were looking at is probably around 40 to 45 minutes.
Okay.
Just keeping their attention.
Yeah.
That stands. So.
Yeah, you start getting bored
Start
after a
losing
while.
So maybe in the spring, they'll have some time available that we can set this up and I can make arrangements, to
Yeah.
do that.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. So spring on that
Spring.
one. All right. Well, as far as, guess we should probably did the minutes from the previous meeting, which would have been held in.
And I don't motion that we bypass them.
Yeah.
All right, Charlie first.
Yep.
I approve, so I guess we're
There we are.
good on that. All right. All right. As far as next thing would be for the cat and bite reports
Okay.
for the month.
I think Tanya sent out the CAD reports
Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't seem like anything.
and I have sent out
Issues.
the bites
Yep.
and I talked to Kim at the health department and when we went over these, basically, again, most of these reports are family animals,
Accidents.
accidents, or a situation where one was trying to break up a dog fight between
Yeah.
two dogs
Yeah.
and they'd get bit. She said nothing major, but we would call a couple hospital reports and they follow through with them, the quarantines and everything, so they're following the regulations.
I know that there's a situation, or was a situation here recently that I was made aware of. Apparently,
Hi, Jan.
I got just about to the airport and my overheated light came
oh
on.
no,
I had to turn around and go back and get the truck.
different car. But apparently there were some animals, and I'm not positive, but I'm thinking it was maybe out in Tim Huff Trailer Park, like 8 dogs. One of them, I guess, was living in or didn't have access to dry ground, was in a creek. And supposedly there had been numerous calls to the police department or sheriff's office to dispatch, and no one was responding.
Okay. I think that was one of the comments that Molly had made on Facebook. And Adam and I were talking about that prior to the meeting, that, the procedure is notify, dispatch. And then once they're involved, then they can call the shelter, because the animal shelter is not animal control.
Exactly.
A lot of people are calling the shelter saying, what are you going to do? Technically, they can't get involved until law enforcement gets involved.
Well, and that's my thing. I know there's a state statute or I don't know if you call it ordinance law or what. If you see an animal in distress, aren't you allowed to step in as a citizen?
I know that they passed a law like a dog or animal
Like in a
in a
car.
car. But as far as the other, what I would tell people, advise them from past law enforcement experience is that if you see something, call dispatch. We don't know how busy the officers are at the time, and sometimes it gets backlogged.
Right.
That to continue to call, and if they have to speak to the chief or the sheriff regarding that, they should do so.
But I mean, what would you say to someone that they see that animal and, I mean, for fear of its life?
I would run that by the police department, the legal aspects, because
Just so
technically,
whether you're willing to,
well,
what you're willing to
and
do.
Molly made a very good point on her discussion that they don't have a right to go on private property. So could you be putting yourself in liability doing it? I know we have a lot of people that do it,
Yeah.
but it doesn't make it right. Now, I'm
Right.
not telling
That's why,
anybody to
yeah.
do anything like that. Follow the steps, contact dispatch.
And then use your own discretion on what you want.
Yeah.
Oh, really, because I don't know how I would handle a situation like that.
But and I've said this ever since I've been on this board and before, the shelter is not animal control.
No,
They go way beyond
Yeah.
what they should do, and we've discussed that, but they're good-hearted people. But sometimes, you have to take care of yourself in that situation, a liability.
yeah,
Because we do know that there have been incidents where animals have been involved and guns have been involved.
yeah.
Liability and a safety issue.
That's exactly right.
Well, and I mean, if someone, certain situations that could be theft, if you was to
Exactly.
go in,
Yeah.
And even a police officer goes there, a lot of times they'll have to either get a search warrant or an order from the court to seize that animal.
yeah,
If
Yes.
the person's not willing to give them up.
right.
Did I miss anything?
We were, no, we were just talking about the bike. I had said that I had sent out the new updated, and the other day I sent the bite reports. Tanya sent out the CADs. We were talking about the bite reports that mainly they've been family animals, or they've been breaking up a fight between a couple dogs that's gotten bit. But the health department's following protocol. They're, quarantining the animal like they're supposed to. So everything on that ends good.
Okay. That's good.
We were just talking about complaints about animals out. We were very lucky,
Scenarios, basically.
very lucky that, with that cold weather that we didn't have. I haven't spoken to Derek or dispatch or Alan about if they had a multiple.
I bet you
number of
that
calls.
next month's CADs
Yeah.
will get
Yeah.
those.
So,
It'll be after this month.
Yeah,
but I will reach out to Alan tomorrow and ask if there's been any follow-up.
on that
call.
situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is in the county though, is a,
My understand, or what I understand, it was in the county. I'm not really sure
Yeah.
if it was out there or where it was.
Yeah.
All right. All right, well, I guess we're ready to inform the public about the updates on the ordinances.
Okay. We received it back from the county attorney. He made the changes that we were asking for. The commissioners have okayed it for me to present this, or Jim, to our entities that we represent, to let them look it over and see if there's anything else. The main thing I want to get across is this is a county ordinance. What we would like for the entities to do is to put into their ordinance the enforcement part. Because there's a lot of writing in the ordinance that doesn't really pertain to the city, like the makeup of this board. They don't need to put that in their ordinance. What we're wanting is that everybody's on the same page on how to enforce it.
Okay.
And that they have the legal right when they make a city ordinance or a town ordinance stating this, that everybody will be on the same page.
Now, I know the 12th, Troy's meeting is the 12th, and the first, I think it's the first Monday, the first Monday and the third Monday is Tell Cities, correct, at 6? And I think Carrollton, I think, is the first Monday, second Monday at 6. But I guess there's going to be hard copies to them.
I have already sent hard copies to the attorneys for Troy and Tell City.
Okay,
I'm planning on sending a hard copy to the clerk in Cannleton, so they have
John,
it to John.
Yeah.
So they have that.
good, because that was one of my questions, is because if, they're going to have to see, okay, if we're going to pass this, what is this?
Right. And as I said, the most important part is they pass the ordinance of the enforcement. They don't have to pass the whole ordinance because there's a lot of material in it that doesn't pertain to their cities and towns.
And there should be something directing that to the county for who's all involved on the board. So there should be a reference back to
Right.
who's on the board.
Right.
So everybody's on, like if you were in Carrollton and say, well, okay, who's on the board? You'd have the information to who's on the board and a communication. So that somebody said, like, I'm the Carrollton representative, which they know, but Troy doesn't necessarily know that. So I think
So there does need to be some kind of wording in there.
so that they know who's on that board.
Right. And I think that would be very easy that once the board's established, that each entity will have a copy of it.
Yeah,
Because we're adding two, and there's a possibility of a third one depending on if a board member decides to step off.
Right. I agree. I think once we start getting a complement of people with all different points of view, and also like the Troy representative, especially now they feel like they're involved in the county.
so those people, that's what we're waiting on this also, right, before we can have more people?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, because this ordinance has to be passed, especially by the county,
Yeah,
to give us the permission to reach out to the entities, because Troy will have a member
Yeah.
on this board. The county council will appoint another person
mhm,
that lives anywhere in the county, and they don't have to be associated with
Yeah.
any organization,
right,
just somebody that wants to
Yeah.
serve on the board.
And
So that will give us, and depending on the fifth member, if they stay or they resign, reappoint someone there, we'll have a total of 7 members instead of 5.
that'd be a commissioner's appointment there, wouldn't it?
The commissioners have the 2 appointments that were involved with the animals. I think Adam, you and Tanya are the
Mhm.
commissioners.
Yep,
Yeah.
Becky was the council.
okay,
I was the Tell City. Jim was
Okay,
okay,
Camden.
so we'll be getting
So
a
we
Troy
went from
and,
Troy, and then
county
an
council.
additional one that the council. So in the ordinance, the council has 2 appointments,
Mhm.
the commissioners have 2.
There you go.
If
That
I
sounds
remember
good.
right in your presentation, they agreed to that and actually passed that with stipulation that
Yeah,
all of the
right.
entities had to agree to.
And what right now, I'm going before the commissioners next week again to ask them to go ahead and okay it, because it's like we're playing ping pong.
Yeah,
And I would like them, that we can tell the other entities, the county has adopted it.
We also have to take some of the pressure off of Charlie, because being the clerk now, he's wearing multiple amount of hats.
That's
And
fine.
he said, as he was saying, I've been watching you talking to the commissioner and stuff. He's in a learning phase, and when you're in a learning phase, most of your input. So we need to get some members to take some of the pressure off of Charlie.
I
That's my-
appreciate that,
that's
but
my opinion.
I'm more than willing to, serve on this board also.
I didn't say
Yeah,
not to.
no, no.
You know where I'm coming from.
So I think that's our update on the
Okay.
ordinance. Hopefully by next month,
Hopefully we can get it all
Will it be signed, sealed, and delivered?
set and stuff.
I'm not
Yeah.
holding my breath for
Yeah.
that, Tanya, but we
Cautiously
hope.
What about signed and sealed?
Cautiously,
if we get the commissioners
Yeah,
on board first, because I still think
yeah,
the other ones are sort of hesitant until they make sure that the county's on board with this
Right.
ordinance.
well, it sounds like we're closer.
Every day.
Light's getting closer at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Yes.
And feel like seemed like it's been a work in progress
Oh,
for a while.
gosh. Forever.
All right, since we're done with the updates on ordinances, I guess, well, I was hoping somebody from the shelter would be here, but
Well, as I said,
There's
apparently they had some
illnesses.
sickness, personnel sickness, so they closed early today and they'll be closed tomorrow.
We stopped by there today and dropped off some blankets. And I guess, well, they put out the Facebook post, I don't know, it's been a couple weeks ago, that the washer went down and so
Yeah.
they were needing blankets. Well, about that time, there was a clearance on them at Walmart for $1. And we went up and got some other members of the community got some, and I guess they wiped out that whole bin at Walmart. They got $1
oh,
So
for the
they-
blankets.
Yeah, so
they got
Ann
that
said they
covered.
have plenty.
And my understanding, the washer has been replaced.
Yeah, they got it replaced with a brand new washer, and the washer that was broke down was new anyway, so they're gonna have that one repaired. So they will have 2 new washers, at their,
Oh, that's good.
yeah, that's
They
what I
need
said.
it.
They
Yeah.
probably need
More,
to anyway.
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
The amount that's there.
Or an industrial size
Yeah.
washer because of what they deal with every day.
yeah, so that's good for them,
I
I
guess
believe.
I guess everything there went good through the extreme cold weather that we had,
We
so.
didn't hear any problems with the shelter.
No.
Nobody reached out on it, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
All right.
I do know that Molly approached the commissioners asking about some changes. They wanted to paint and a exhaust fan in the kennel area,
Mhm.
and she was getting some prices on that.
Oh, putting an exhaust fan in?
Yeah, replacing the one that's there,
Yeah.
because apparently that's where some of the leaking
Oh,
of
really?
the roof is, right
Oh,
around that,
Yeah,
so.
well, I'd say they definitely have to have one in that area.
And then I guess the block kennels that they have, apparently they haven't been painted in a long time, and they wanted to go ahead while they got that
Yeah,
area shut down, they've got the animals moved,
yeah.
to go ahead and do that, so.
Oh, I'm going to go back on I'm sorry, I forgot to ask you about that. I talked to Christina about the fact that whenever you get this ready and everything is correct on that, to make sure that Christina, the auditor, has a copy, so because people from the public would like, when they want to get an
Right,
ordinance.
yes,
Because I don't even have a hard copy of it yet, so.
Yeah.
But I asked Christina,
yes,
you know. what-
yes. Once they sign it and establish an ordinance number, then it becomes public record,
Right.
and the public would be allowed to.
All right. Well, updates on the budget for the board. I guess we're,
We're starting the new year, so I'm assuming that we're at $5,000.
we should be
Did
back.
anyone put in a request?
I did for last year's
Okay.
budget on a couple things.
Good deal.
I asked for additional money for the training
Mhm.
and help out with the medicine. And then I also, at the last minute, put in for a part-time animal control
right.
officer. And they cut it out of the budget. They want a plan, and I figured between now and August of this year, maybe we can write up a plan on
Yeah.
what we expect out if they fund a part-time person.
Yeah, because they're gonna probably want to get it budgeted at least, or
Yeah.
So when will we know with we even got our $5,000 approval or?
Oh, it was approved.
Oh, okay.
I think that, matter of fact, I'll check with Chris tomorrow, but I'm sure it's in the line
Okay.
item for, because I thought I saw that passed,
Alright.
but it was just the 5.
Okay,
Which if everything goes true with the school and event stuff, that'll tap into that.
yeah,
Luckily. So hopefully we can put it to good use. All right. Well, have you heard anything lately on Ann's, was she gonna be doing the schooling for,
For that,
Yeah.
that is still on hold.
that's still on hold,
They're
okay.
still-
That's what I was wondering on.
Right now, with everything that's going on, the number of animals they have, that it's not really anything that's on the front burner.
Okay, so it's kind of backpedaled.
Yes,
It's in
But
limbo right now.
but they know we are willing to help
yeah.
whatever is needed there.
All right, so let's table that till it comes back up again. All right, well, I don't know if anybody realizes, but next month is February, and that's usually when we decide on who wants to be what again.
Oh, yeah.
So, elections.
You're doing such a good job.
Well, I was told Charlie that he's been so active that he might want to consider, but once he took this job, I said, you better reconsider.
I'm more than willing to be on this board, but I think as far as the president, I think Adam's done a good job.
He does
I
do a
think
good
that
job.
we
I think so
Should
too.
just stay the way we are for the next year.
Be nice to just get some new people, get some
Yes.
Yeah.
additions on.
Yes.
Hopefully by the springtime, we can have that accomplished.
Yeah,
You've
that'd be
got,
great.
what, 7 years experience now? 7 years on the board?
Ooh, I was thinking about that the other day. It's
I'm
from
guessing it was
8
around 7.
It's either 18 or 19,
I think you're around 7 years.
probably, yeah. I took over 1 or 2 years after Scott Whitehead passed away.
Yes. I can go back and see when he.
Yeah,
passed away.
that's the only way I know is that I took over the summer after he had passed away, so that's the only reason why I know that.
If you don't mind, interject here. Jim went to Evansville a few weeks ago to a meeting, and I was hoping he would give us a little update of what that was all about.
Yes.
If I'm on the agenda.
Oh, are you?
I'm
okay.
teasing, I'm
Yeah.
not on the agenda.
I know new businesses, what's that right
There
there?
you go.
Yeah,
Sounds
we're
like
in
next
business.
There you are.
Okay, in December, the last week of December, I once picked up on a newscast, one of the 14 newscasts stating that the mayor was going to have a meeting with the public
Mhm.
to talk about animal issues. So I contacted the mayor's office and I asked them, do they have an agenda? And they said, no, what's going to happen is they're going to have the entities that they usually deal with up front, and there was about 10 of them, and to be there to answer questions. And they were all going to first introduce themselves, say what they did, and then they were going to take questions from the public. And so I talked to them for a few minutes, and they said, well, write down, so I got there, it was on Wednesday, the 15th. So anyway, I got there and talked to the communications directors directly with the mayor, and I said, what I'm going to propose is, it's not just a simple question, but I questioned it, and she picked up on that, and she said, she's going to watch for me in the audience and then say, look at the question and say, I'm looking, I'm not quite sure what this means, and then I'll get her attention, and then I could speak. So they went through, there was like the Humane Society, Vanderbilt County, the Animal Control, 2 shelters, PAWS was there, but there was representatives speaking what they did. And it was very quiet, it was a nice meeting, but they all just said what they did. So I decided I was going to, already ahead of time, I was going to come from a little different route. So I put on the questionnaire that going from the symptoms to the cause. And she couldn't quite understand what I meant by that. So she knew that I was going to speak. So I spoke up and said, look, and this, I'm going by generalities, and also my memory is terrible. Basically, I said, all of these entities here are very important, but they're dealing they're the symptoms. They're dealing with the symptoms of the cause of the problem, not the cause. I think we should start looking more into the cause. And so then I switched immediately to, you had discussed earlier how hard it was to get veterinarians. You only have one veterinarian that deals with all of Vanderburgh County. It's 175,000 people, and they deal with thousands of animals, right? They got one vet that they can work with on a daily basis. They can get other vets in emergencies, but they only have one emergency vet there. So I said, you were talking about how hard what it was to get a vet. It was how hard it was to have a vet on hand. And I said, that's one of the major problems is we need to change the state laws because the state laws are antiquated. We need to update those so that we can be more efficient. And from the group that was here, the people in Evansville, I was saying this is the beginning of a group that should organize even larger to start to try to change these laws. And then I give an example. That they didn't know. I said that a veterinarian, you cannot give a rabies shot in the state of Indiana unless there is a veterinarian on hand. He has to be at least in the building. So all of these vets that are overloaded and behind, and some of them are not taking new patients. A person just moves in town, can't even get a rabies shot. And I said, we need to change the laws of the state of Indiana so that vet techs have the ability to do these things like give rabies shots, minor examinations and stuff like that, to take the pressure off the vets. And I said, the problem is Purdue University. And I actually stated that. Purdue University, they're the premier vet school in the United States, and they're not going to agree to anything that's going to take work away from the people that they train. I know that. But so we've got to do this statewide. And, I basically stated that, and I said, there's other things, and I was going to talk about which we have discussed and you've discussed. We also should start right in the earliest school age and educate these kids to educate their parents. We need education, but I didn't get into that. I didn't have time because, everybody's asking questions. So I thought, okay, that was it. And I started sitting down, and I got a round of applause. I couldn't believe it. The whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah, the whole applause. I thought, whoa. They usually throw tomatoes at me. What's
Yeah.
Well, I told Jim, I saw him on television that night because I turned in the news and they had the camera on him.
Wow.
And he was
on this,
speaking.
But
was the county option dog tax brought up?
I actually had that information and gave it to about half a dozen people there and said,
Yeah.
this is a problem. But I didn't, like I said, it was 150 people in that room at least.
Wow.
And
Hope we can't even get one to turn.
Well, but if you watch the news, especially in Evansville, their shelters are full.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and we're talking 400 or 500 animals. That's just mind-boggling.
Davis County and Owensboro is about the same.
Yeah,
Oh,
everybody.
everybody is.
I did see ITV are going to be taking Davis County over
Yes.
in Owensboro.
Yeah.
Yep.
and they were there too. It takes a village was there too.
They help. They do a lot in Vanderburgh County.
Jim, do you know, do we have a date scheduled for that next neuter and spay?
That's and looking into that because it'll probably be in late April. Ann's connecting with can't think of her name now, but Ann's supposed to get it. And then I said, Ann, don't necessarily let them give you the date. You see who of our people that can be there because this last one we had hardly anybody there, and they didn't realize how important it was. I said, the traffic. You don't think traffic control is important until
Yeah.
you see these people.
I was in the middle of it. I brought one up there, so I know what it is, but I want to make sure we get that out and get volunteers to help.
Yes, I appreciate that because But anyway, we usually get one in April and one in June or July and then one in September. But I can go back on last year's
I
calendar.
think Hancock County's having one, or they just had one. I think I saw a brochure on that.
Really?
But that's Ann's the one that's supposed to get that scheduled, so I can get that on our next.
Okay.
I'm just glad that we're getting to the point where we can get new members and we can get something done. Because like you said, it's very frustrating that you take a step forward and then two step backwards. So, but yeah, I'm also dealing with other entities in the state, so I'm still working on trying to get people's ears open. In fact, I'm going to be with one of the news channels in the next week and offer something and then see if I can get some information to go towards that. But it's too early for me to be able to say I'm going to have it, get it
Yeah.
done. So
Yeah, but as far as that spay and neuter clinic, if we can get a date, within reason, I can take a vacation day and help out.
it's only the first. It's only an hour and a half in the morning. That's crazy. And
Yeah.
then it's an
It's
hour in the
mainly just the
evening.
drop off is,
Mhm.
Well, we drop off and then
and the
pick up.
pickup.
Right. It's about between 8 and 9 in the morning, between 4 and 6 in the evening. It's according when they get
Yeah.
finished. I keep forgetting the two are there too.
I helped one time. It was pretty chaotic,
Yeah.
but we actually had, a few volunteers, but it was still,
It
Rush.
just happened to be that Ann was gone and a lot of people were gone and we were really hurt for people.
Yeah.
But Sarah Jane Dahman
yeah.
stepped in and helped a lot, so.
All right. Well, is there any other unknown business or new business that needs to be brought up in the meantime?
And then I can think,
We are still putting about 1,000 pounds of dog and cat food in all the food pantries every 2 weeks, every Tuesday, every second Tuesdays. So
It's probably empty by the time you get back there, is
Widdowsboro's empty in 4 days. The rest of them, sometimes they have food, sometimes they don't, but the Widdowsboro is empty in 4 days.
Where, is someone donating the food?
Yes, but I can't say who all's donating
Right,
it because
but it's not
I
anything
donate.
that anyone's paying for, everyone, it's being donated.
well, we
That's
have,
good.
we pay part of that.
Yeah, okay.
It's according to how much donations we get every 2 weeks. I'm putting out through the Humane Society about $125 every 2 weeks, so about $250 a month.
Yeah.
But
I
that's-
know that at one time, like Walmart would help, they'd donate like their torn bags or stuff like that, so
Well, this
I just hate to think that
Is
the
that-
Humane Society's spending all their money,
yes, there's entities and people actually donate to us. And then what the shelter actually uses a certain Purina dog
Yeah.
food. So if we get that donated, then we direct it to the shelter.
Yeah,
So
good.
that goes back and forth.
Good.
So when they have things so we've been working with Ann and Molly 100% with the shelter.
I think that about finishes us up, doesn't it?
Yeah, other than the announcement for our next meeting.
And that's what I was gonna bring up. Are Tuesday nights the best or Wednesday nights? What do you think?
I'll try to work with whatever. My shift and schedule is so screwed up, you can't really depend on me to make your all schedule.
Are you okay with either day?
Either one.
Well,
Tuesdays work better for me, but
Okay.
I can make
Well-
Wednesdays also.
like I said, in February, it would be the 25th, and that would be fine with me on Tuesday.
25th. Yep, I'm off
6 PM,
as of now.
Yeah, I know how your schedule operates.
6 PM here?
Yep.
All right.
All right, well, I guess if that's the case, can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting at
I'll make the motion.
6:42?
I'll second.
Jeb first, Tanya second, all of approving to adjourn the meeting?
Aye.
Meeting is ended.
Okay, I got something to tell you.